Hey everyone, it's Betty Louise or Coach Betty. I'm the host of Green Think Internet Radio, and you're about to hear an excerpt from one of my interviews. Please check out the full show at womenonair.biz. That's www.womenonair.biz. Hope you enjoy it. We are now here with Jenny Allen, who is a business owner of an online clothing store, Madrone Regenerated Clothing. So welcome to the show, Jenny.
Thank you, Betty.
Well, I was noticing, I have a funny little curious question to start with here, that your website is Madrone Berries. And I know madrone trees, but do madrone trees actually have berries, or where did that come from?
Yes, they actually do have berries, and they're edible. And they've been referred to as Mormon tea because they're totally natural, caffeine-free, and you can make them into tea or just eat them. They're really high in vitamin C. They're not one of those things that you just want to run out to the tree and eat in the wintertime, but they get red just before Christmas, really, so they're really fun to pick, and then you can string them with popcorn.
On your Christmas tree?
Yeah, they're really pretty. And they dry their same beautiful red, orangey, yellow color. They start off green, and then they slowly turn to red.
And how did you come up with that name for your business?
Well, I have a strong connection to the madrone tree. I've always, I don't know, they're very strong and beautiful. And recently when I was up north in Victoria, Canada, I heard some stories. There are a lot of native legends about what they call the naked trees because their bark is so smooth and peely.
I know. It's so beautiful and so rich in color, that deep, deep red.
Yeah, really super beautiful. So there are some ancient legends that go back about those trees, and they feel like a very strong, solid, grounding sort of thing, and that's what I needed as my imaging for this business.
Yeah. Well, it certainly is a fascinating concept, and I met you briefly at the Green Festival here in San Francisco, and your clothing is just so beautiful. I just was so struck by how you put together the fabrics. And you, in your materials, you talk about using post-consumer recycled textiles. And what exactly does that mean?
Well, essentially what I do is I collect clothing that's been gently used, and I hand choose all of it. So I make sure that it's still in good enough condition to use again. Sometimes things get discarded because they have a little stain in the front or a hole somewhere, and they're not good as that garment anymore. But the whole rest of the shirt or pajamas or whatever it is that I'm using is still totally usable and fun. So I wash everything and dry it, and then I sort it by color, and it becomes my palette. And then I just pull things off and piece them together with my patterns.
And so sometimes there's design in the fabric and solid fabric, and I know it really creates an amazing piece. So you were a realtor, and I know I read in your bio that 6 months ago you really have put your heart and soul into this business. But how did you get the inspiration for it? I know you've been sewing for a long time, but what made you step into really doing this full out?
Well, it is something that I keep coming back to in my life. I've done manufacturing and retail and been a buyer several times at different points in my life. I had a children's clothing store when I lived down in Oregon at one point, and I was doing manufacturing with a friend of mine where I was coming up with some of the clothing designs and patterns, and she did batik on them, my friend did. And so I've just touched on this many different times, and it's never quite stuck, but this time
everything came together, it seems
did.
like. Yes, because, you have a real green focus with it. I know nothing is thrown away. What do you do with the little pieces that have stains on them?
If you like what you've heard and want to get more information about how to be green, sustainable, conscious, check out womenonair.biz. That's www.womenonair.biz. Stay tuned.